So, so we're about to go live right now.
All right.
We are about to go live. All right.
How long does the live stay up for a day?
Oh, it's up.
It's on
Forever.
now.
Yeah, it's ongoing. So you'll be able to share it and all that.
Okay.
I'm gonna take the next minute and we'll start a watch party so we can get some more exposure. I got the birds chirping. All right. Let's see. Ed, are you able to do a watch party from your end?
All right, I do a watch party. What do I do? I usually just go into the page so I can watch the people come through.
No worries.
And Ted, we definitely need to catch up and have that Zoom drink you was talking about, bro.
You know, we live right now. Once.
What is there a problem? We can't talk about having a drink on live.
But absolutely, I'll give me a warm glass of a Tang or something.
Between brothers, okay. I take my water room temperature. I didn't know we couldn't.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely.
Welcome to the 30-minute hour. It's the weekly podcast where we discuss business, sports, politics, and whatever's on our mind.
Okay.
I'm your host, Eric Twiggs, your procrastination prevention partner. I'm also the author of The Discipline of Now, 12 Practical Principles to Overcome Procrastination. Joining me as always is my partner in crime. He's the business strategist extraordinaire, the super CEO, and all-around good guy, Ted Fells.
Ted.
Good evening, all. Good evening.
All right. And you see, we've got our guest for the week. We're going to introduce him here shortly. Before we do that, please know, and you'll find this out as you get into the episode, that this is not your everyday podcast. You can join us right here on the Facebook Live page. You can also go to the 30minutehour.net and get a hold of all of our previous episodes, all of our audio downloads. You can even see our YouTube videos. But Ted, it's been an interesting week. What are you seeing from this week, Ted?
Man, just a lot of protests, marches, not just across the U.S. but worldwide. Man, it's something to see how everyone is coming together for some change. So it's a good thing. It's starting a lot of conversation, a lot of discussions that probably should have happened a long time ago. So I think it's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. You're seeing the diversity in just 50 states, 18 countries, just around the world, people uniting around the cause. So I think that's one of the positive things that we're seeing. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. And I know we've got quite a few people watching us live right now. Make sure that you take the time to type into the comments section, say hello, throw a question out there, and we'll be responding back and forth with you as we move forward here. But Ted, I've got something that's on my mind.
Do you?
I know it's shocking, surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I got something that's on my mind. Eh, Aren't you going to ask me what I have on my mind?
What's on your mind, Eric?
Good question. Good question. All right. Then this really relates to our guest that we're about to introduce you in just a second. You'll see when you see his background and all the things he's doing. But I want to talk to you about the butterfly rule. That's right. The butterfly rule.
Okay.
So, I was watching the final episode of The Last Dance for like the 17th time, right? I just got finished watching that. It was over. So I started surfing the channels. I was looking at, we're on lockdown still, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I was in the house surfing channels and I stumbled across the Entertainment Network.
Okay.
Network, right? And they were showing an interview from 1998 with this actress. Her name is Helen Hunt. So she just won this Academy Award for her role in this movie, As Good as It Gets. So during the interview, the reporter asked her an interesting question. He said, Helen, you just won the Oscar. How will you decide on your next film project? Here's what she said. I will choose the project that scares me the most. And I thought that was strange. I mean, why would this successful actress at the top of her game seek out something that scares her? And then it hit me. It's because she lives by the butterfly rule. Here's where we're going. So you have to do the thing that scares you because growth takes place on the other side of your butterflies.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. That's where the growth happens, when you get on the other side of your butterflies. And you won't reach your full potential until you do whatever you're afraid of. Right. And I've just learned this over the years myself. When I'm feeling butterflies, that's a signal of something that's critical to my success that I need to do. Whatever I'm about to do, so I start really feeling those butterflies, that's a sign that I need to do something. And when I get on the other side of it, I'm going to be much better. So for our followers that are logging on and watching us, the question I have for you is, what is it that scares you the most? And we have this segment on the other show where we say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but
right.
So in the spirit of that, I'm going to apply that to the rest of this, because we're talking about, what do you have butterflies over? What scares you? What's keeping you from moving forward? So here we go. I don't know who needs to hear this, but asking your boss for that pay raise is critical to your success.
Yeah.
You got to get on the other side of that thing. You got to do it. I don't know. Again, I don't know who needs to hear this, but during your weekly Facebook Live video, that thing is critical to your success. You want to grow your business. You want to take things to the next level, increase your visibility. I don't know who needs to hear this, but jumping on stage during that open mic night is critical to your success.
Yeah.
I think our guest can probably relate to that.
Yeah.
You have to jump up there and you have to do it.
Yeah.
And consistently doing the thing that scares you will position you to maximize your potential. And that's as good as it gets.
Wow.
That's it. That's my thought for the week. That's my rant.
So it's all about the butterfly rule, huh?
Butterfly rule. You
Okay.
got to get on the other side. That's the signal. That's something you really need to do.
Yeah.
And when you do that thing, you really feel better about yourself and your situation.
Okay.
There's no growth in comfort.
There's no growth in comfort. Exactly. Exactly. I think this is the perfect time, Ted. We need to bring our guest on, because I know that he has overcome the butterflies. And
I'm sure. I'm sure he's all about achievement, Eric, and you all are going to find that out real soon.
Absolutely.
About achievement, Eric.
So if you just look at his bio, you ever go to his website, like he spent his entire life doing that thing that scares him the most. And I'm looking forward to talking to him about that. So he's a native of Sacramento, California. He's been performing since he was a child. He's been singing, dancing, acting from the time he could walk. He gravitated to the stage, winning numerous talent competitions and landing leading roles in plays and in musicals. It was clear from the first time that he picked up the mic that he was destined to be in the spotlight. With a range of talents and a gift for comedic timing, he's the ultimate entertainer. Songwriting became his passion at an early age, at the age of 11, and he's been writing songs ever since. Get this, Ted. At 16, he was signed to MCA as part of a singing group named Adagio. And he left that group 2 years later to go to Morgan State, where he studied electrical engineering.
Wow.
He can be seen every Wednesday night using his comedic and vocal talents at the Five Seasons, where he is the host and founder of Warm Wednesdays. And he's also available to host a range of shows from talk radio to television, R&B, neo soul concerts, spoken word, and even hip hop battles. And
It's a lot.
yeah, that's a lot. And I'm even I like him so much, I'm even gonna read this next part.
Oh my goodness.
He's a proud member.
Oh, come
Kappa
on.
Alpha Psi fraternity.
Come on,
Incorporated.
yo, come on with my frat brother, yo, yes.
Please join me in welcoming to the 30-Minute Hour podcast, Walter Jones.
Walter Maxfield Jones. Not to be
Walter
confused with
Maxfield Jones.
Yeah.
Let me get it
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Let me
Get my
include the
full
middle
name.
name.
Get it right. Get it right. When
Oh, man.
your frat brothers come on here, Eric, you get their name right. You say their
Full
whole name, Junior, the third. When my frat brother come on here, get it right. Say his name again. Get it right, please. Come on.
I see how this is going to go.
Come on.
Walter Maxfield Jones.
Yes.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Right. We're going to change the name of this podcast from the 30-Minute Hour to the Kappa Hour, I see.
There you go. You got my
Not a
back.
bad idea.
All right. Well, Walter, it's an honor and a privilege to have you on our show.
Thank you.
I mean, you've done a lot of things. I'm just curious. Do you still get butterflies? I mean, you hop up there on stages and you do all these different things. Do you feel the butterflies?
Depends. It depends on the event. Warm Wednesdays. I need to update my website. I shut down Warm Wednesdays a few years ago. Just doing a weekly open mic for 17 plus years kind of wears on you. But I just felt like it was time for me to give myself butterflies again, if that makes sense. And that's why people ask me, why did I stop it? I was like, I wasn't getting those butterflies, you know. Being on stage for me now is just as comfortable as sitting on my couch. But when I first started it, I started it because I was songwriting and I wanted to test whether or not I was actually a good songwriter. So I was like, well, how am I going to test it? Let me start an open mic. And, you know, if the audience applauds, then it's a good song. If they don't, then I suck. So that'll definitely give you some butterflies. And it grew into the largest running weekly open mic poetry venue in the country. But for the first 4 years, every Wednesday, every time I got on stage, knees shaking, butterflies in my stomach, voice quivering. And the more that I hosted the show, pretty soon it felt like home. And I felt more at home on stage in front of that audience, in front of what we used to call the Warm Wednesdays family. I felt more on stage in front of them than I did usually in a one-on-one conversation with somebody. So yeah, I continue to challenge myself because I don't ever want to feel like I'm stagnant. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yes.
You know, at the moment you're not growing, the moment you're not challenging yourself, that's when you start to feel old. That's when you start to feel like, okay, I'm just going to stay right here in my comfort zone. And, you know, but you have to continue to push always, because that's what keeps you excited. Ted talked about achievement. in every field of human endeavor, right?
What you know about that, Eric?
Think about when you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
When you feel good about yourself, people say, "Oh, when I'm on vacation, I'm just chilling on the beach." That when you feel good, that's nice life. That's not the life you really want.
Right.
You feel the most masculine, you feel the best of, or the most feminine, whatever your gender is. You feel the best about yourself when you just accomplish something. When you do something that you didn't think you could pull off. When you do something you didn't think you could do. That's when you feel the best about yourself. So you still got to continue to find those things that you're nervous about, that you have butterflies about, and try to make those accomplishments happen. And that's what's going to keep your self-esteem up.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree 100%. So let's kind of start from the beginning. So was there a specific moment where was there a specific incident where you said, you know what, I can do this. I'm good at this entertainment thing. I can really do this.
Oh, wow. Probably somewhere between 5 and 7 years old. Started out with church plays, got the lead role in the church play. And that's kind of how it started. Talent shows. I came from the family that, whenever there was Thanksgiving or Christmas, the kids had to perform at some point throughout the night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
After dinner, as soon as the game was over, whatever, if you were under 15, you had to perform. If you couldn't sing, you had to dance. If you couldn't dance, you better tell a joke. If you couldn't do any of it, you better be in the background doing some moves. You better do something. You better join somebody else's team, but you better get up and perform.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how I grew up. I remember I would draw tickets and charge my mom and my grandmother and my sister and my stepfather like $3 to sit on the couch because we're doing a show tonight at 7 o'clock. Show got to be over by 8:30 because my bedtime is 9. But but there's gonna be a show, and I'm gonna make some money off the show. I don't know where that came from. I always felt like if you do something well, never do it for free. Even at that age, I'm like, I'm charging you $3 for this to come to the living room tonight.
So Eric, just know that if you go to any of Walt's events, don't be saying, hey, can you get Walt to come out front, because Walt gonna charge you. If he charge family, he charge you.
All Noops get in free to any of my events.
Did I hear him correctly? Did he say all Qs get in free? Is that what I heard?
Qs pay twice as much.
You pay double. Oh man, this is rough. This is rough. So say that again, because I don't want to walk past that. So you say if you do something well, don't do it for free?
Yeah, if you do something well, never do it for free.
Interesting. How'd you come up with that? Where did that originate from?
Honestly, I probably saw it on some movie or something and adopted it. Didn't grow up with a father in the house. And so I took things from movies and television and the streets and just said, okay, I'm going to apply that to my life. Okay, that's what a man does. I'm going to apply that. That's what, and I just tried to take as much good, push away the bad, and then add my own twist to it.
Okay.
It's interesting. Walt said, I know Walt probably maybe close to 20 years. And I think, I don't know, last year, Walter said something to me that just really just rang for me, man. We was talking about, I was like, man, Walt, you do all this different stuff, man. And then you just started breaking it down for me. Walt, you remember that conversation? When you was talking about everything that you do and everything, how you've been able to bring all these different aspects in your life into being able to monetize it. We were having that conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to find a way to, people say don't combine work and play, and I don't believe that. I believe, find something that you enjoy doing, turn it into a business, and that way work and play is the same. You get paid for doing something that you love, so it doesn't feel like work. Like I said, when I was songwriting, I was like, okay, how can I test my songs and get paid to do it? Start the open mic. When I learned how to ski, I was like, wow, this is expensive. It cost me $1,500 before I even got onto the slopes, like to get the ski equipment and the jacket and the boots and the goggles. I was like, man, I was like, okay. And I got out there and there was only like maybe 2 or 3 Black people on the mountain, but I had a great time. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start throwing ski trips. You know, by 2 years in, we got 600-700 people going on a ski trip. And so every time I go skiing, you know, of course I got some business partners and other promoters involved. Every time I go skiing, I come back with a couple grand in my pocket, as opposed to paying a couple grand to go skiing. So it's just a matter of like, if there's something that you really enjoy doing, you know, turn it into a business. And, you know, you also have to understand that you have to head out and do it alone. You have to be passionate. You have to be so passionate that other people see the value in it. If you say, hey, let's go do this, nobody's gonna go with you. You know, it wasn't when I started, same thing with snowboarding. When I started snowboarding, I was like, oh, I want to snowboard. Nobody, you know, Black people like, that's it's a white boy sport. I'm not snowboarding. That's cold. I'm gonna go to an island. I had to go, I probably went snowboarding by myself for the first 2 years and was just posting pictures of me snowboarding, posting you know, video footage of me busting my tail coming down the mountain. And by the end of that 2 years, I probably had about a crew of 10 people that were going snowboarding with me. And then we started traveling all over the world snowboarding. We got sponsored by a snowboarding company, Volcom. And, yeah. So, but understand, whatever venture you start, you're gonna have to start it alone, because people join the bandwagon because they don't want to be left behind. But that means you got to run out there first.
Yeah, and it's hard to get people excited about your idea if you're not excited about it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it sounds like it's common sense, but I think that's the key thing that gets missed when people start ventures. So when you were 16, you got signed to MCA as part of that singing group.
Yeah.
So talk, how did that come about? What's the backstory about how you got discovered?
I was doing, you know, all the talent shows, you know, singing at the state fair. You know, you know, back then I was like, and I went to a performing arts high school, Grant. Shout out to Grant, Pacers for Life, Sacramento, California. And there was you know, it was, you know, we did plays like Sparkle and Raisin in the Sun and Fame, and that was the type of high school it was. And so you had singing groups within the high school. You had girls that were singing and dancing, and guys. There was a singing group. I forgot what their name was before I joined it, but it was 4 of them. And one of them pulled me and was like, "Yo, you should be in our singing group." And I was like, "All right, let's see what happens." And I joined the singing group, and I came up with the name Adagio. And they were, you know, I was more of a background singer. I wasn't the lead. I was like choir boy. I just came in, hit the high falsetto at the end. But they had like my boy Stevie. He had a man. He had the voice like Stevie Wonder. He could hit almost any note. The other lead singer, William, he sounded more like a Dave Hollister. You know, just had that sultry, rich voice.
Yeah.
You know, and the rest of us pretty much sang background, except for, like I said, when I come in and hit the high falsetto towards the end. And we got signed from doing a talent show. The lead singer of Club Nouveau, I don't know if you guys remember Rumors. That song. Yeah, he was at the talent show and he was signed to MCA at the time, and he was like, "Yo, I want to sign you guys." And that's how it happened.
Wow. So if you could go back in time, you know, with the knowledge you have now, what advice would you give to yourself from back in those days?
I would have told myself to start selling stocks way back then. Start buying and trading stocks. You know, back then I would have told myself to buy into Bluetooth and Amazon. You know, but you know, I have so many, you know, things that I live by. I would definitely tell myself to read more books. But take care of yourself first. You know, as business owners, Ted, you may be able to relate to this. Uh, you know, you wake up and the first thing you're thinking about is business. Like, what do I got to do? I got to get this done. And you take care of business more than you take care of yourself. You know, recently I've discovered like I need to wake up earlier, take care of myself, whether that's meditation, drink my water, get my exercise in, get my run in, get my workout on, because it doesn't matter how successful I am or how much money I make. If I'm not healthy, it's not going to matter. And I need to take care of myself before I take care of business. So I take 2 hours, you know, before I even turn on my laptop. I try not to look at my phone too much, but I take the first hour to 2 hours of the day just to take care of myself. Like I said, you know, drink water, meditate, stretch, work out, all that type of stuff. Go for a walk, get my mind right for the day before I start handling business. And yeah, oh, and second, when you do open up your emails, instead of opening up your email to respond to everyone, the first thing I do is send out everything that I want everybody else to do first. Because what I want is more important than what I want you to do is more important than what you want me to do. So I just send out everything before I don't care what email they sent me. I don't even read it. I just send out whatever I want them to do. It's funny, they respond to you so much more, so differently when they stop asking you to do stuff. So yeah,
Wow.
that's what I tell myself.
So is that more about starting the day on offense versus reacting to?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Putting it in your head, today's going to be a great day no matter what. You know, and you know, there's no such thing as a bad day. Certain days are more difficult than the others, but there's no such thing as a bad day. You know what? Ted changed my life one day. He doesn't even know he did it.
Uh-oh. Well, send me some of that. Send me some of that money off them stocks. Let me give you my cash out. If I made that type of difference in your life, pay it, brother.
Hey, the amount of discounts I've given you over the years, bro, you got that money back. But one day I was struggling. Now, you know, my IT company was struggling. I was going through a rough patch. And I called Ted, probably trying to get some business out of him. And it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, Ted, what you doing, man? I need to talk to you. He was like, man, I'm in the office. It was like 8:30 maybe. I was like, man, I'm in the office. I said, what are you doing in the office? It's 8:30. He's like, what do you think I'm doing? I'm working. I was like, man, Ted, you work harder than anybody I know. He's like, man, I don't work hard. He's like, I'm in the office. I got a flat screen TV. I'm wearing a suit. It's air conditioned.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't work hard. He said, people that, you know, picked cotton worked hard. People that scrub floors and, you know, clean bathrooms, they work hard. He said, well, we don't work hard. It might be time consuming, but it ain't hard.
Yeah, that's real talk.
Yeah. After that, he was like, and I'm working for myself. How am I going to complain about working hard for myself? It's just work. Well, it ain't hard. It's just work.
Yeah.
And since that day, Ted, I swear to God, anybody tell me like, well, you work hard. I'm like, I don't work hard. I'm in a suit.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's right. That's it.
You'd be surprised how something that, you know, might be meaningless to you, maybe, you know, that you just said haphazardly in a casual conversation can change somebody. You got to always be aware of what you say when you say it.
And I think that's key because it's very easy to get into these pity parties, right? You try to get his account, business may not be going, but you always have to maintain that perspective. I mean, there are people that would trade places with you in a heartbeat. In a minute.
I tell Ted, I think I told Ted at one time, because he said something to me, and I'm not going to talk about that subject, but but I said, Ted, people wish they had my problems. If I complain, it sounds like I'm bragging.
Oh. No, but it's all in your perspective. So, you know, you mentioned we were talking about you getting discovered, and I was just curious, like, what advice do you have? We have people that are watching us right now. It could be they're in the entertainment field, maybe they're in business. They're trying to get discovered. Right. So what advice do you have for that person that's looking to get discovered?
Don't try to get discovered. Hone your craft. Be the best you can be at what you do. if you're good for long enough, eventually people will take notice.
Mm.
And in today's day and age, I would say create content. And it's not about one or two, you have to be consistent. If you're gonna create some content, if you're a singer, you need to be posting something, you know, every Monday at 2 o'clock, you're posting a new song, a new cover, your original, whatever it may be. It's about consistency over time. And that's anything you do. If you want consistent results, you got to put in consistent effort.
Yeah. Good. Great advice. Great advice. So you're in the group, and then after 2 years, you went to Morgan State, and you decided to go into electrical engineering. So talk about that. I mean, it seemed like you had this arts flow going, and then all of a sudden you pivoted to electrical engineering. How did that happen?
Well, I've always been an artist at heart. But I've also, you'd be surprised, a lot of artists are very mathematically inclined. So, you know, growing up, I was kind of like a math prodigy. I was always about 6 grades ahead of myself in math, to the point where by the time I graduated my last couple years of high school, they didn't even offer the math that I want. I went to Morehouse going into my senior year to take math classes. So I didn't grow up in a great environment. The school that I went to was probably the second worst high school in all of California. We had the highest teenage pregnancy rate in the nation. 1 out of every 4 students carried a gun. We had undercover cops posing as students. You know, it was you know, a little bit like Lean on Me type of environment. You know?
Wow.
But I loved it. You know, that's my high school. And one of the counselors, one of the teachers, the science teacher, Miss Hale, she was a hippie. She said, Walter, the easiest way for you to get out of here and get a full scholarship anywhere is electrical engineering. She's like, if you're a young Black male with electrical, you know, and you're planning to go into electrical engineering, you'll get a full scholarship almost anywhere. All you got to do is have above a 3.5 and, you know, have a 1200 SAT. And I was like, only 1200? She was like, this school is so bad. Getting a 1200 here is like getting a 1600 anywhere else. She said, and because of our ranking, the universities will see that. I said, okay. So that was the goal. And I pretty much had, you know, scholarships anywhere I wanted to go in the country.
So talk about, I mean, we know about the singing and the songwriting, but so talk about how have you parlayed your electrical engineering skills?
Okay. Well, like when I started out electrical engineering, after I left school, I was building databases for the state of Maryland. My current business partner with my IT company, with my recruiting firm, he was recruiting while I was building databases, and he was like, Walter, you ain't gonna make no money working for the government. He's like, you gotta go private, baby. Ted knows that's how he talks too. You gotta go private, baby. You can't make no money. So you know, when I was building databases for the state, at the time they weren't bringing on anybody as full-time employees. Everybody was contractors, and people kept quitting because they weren't giving benefits. Every time somebody quit, they gave me their job. So I started out building databases. Next thing I know, I'm letting RFPs, I'm reviewing RFPs, I'm monitoring programs. So by the time I went private, they were like, what can you do? I was like, I can run a program, I can write an RFP. And so I got hired as a recruiter. By the end of that year being a recruiter, I ended up being a business developer because I knew how to walk the hallways, I knew how to land proposals. Found out that the Black company that I was working for was grossly underpaying me. Went to work for a white company that paid me triple what I was making. Then their infrastructure got a little jealous of my success because I was the token, but I was outperforming the CEO's and the president's son and his son-in-law. So they let me go for that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start my own thing because I'm smarter than these people. And I definitely give a big shout out to Kwame Brown, because Kwame Brown took me underneath his wing when he was working for the Maryland, DC Minority Supplier Development Council. I was vice president of business development there. that was like getting a master's degree in business, just working with Kwame. And that set me up to start my own company.
So, and Ted, we have to ask this question with Walter. You know, you're doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with your company, with the comedy, with the writing the songs, and everything you're doing. Kind of walk us through your typical day. Like, what time do you wake up? We got to know this. I mean, because people, people are like, I don't have time.
No.
I want to do stand up, but I don't have time. So can you kind of walk us through your typical day?
This is gonna be good.
What day? What day is it? You know, every day is a little bit different, but a typical day, I'm up at 5. I'll probably run or walk for an hour. Load up on some coffee by 6 o'clock. 100 push-ups, 50 pull-ups, 100 jump squats. Go through my normal boxing workout. By 6:30, 6:45, I'm showered. I have 3 laptops. I'm working off of 3 laptops. And then I crank out about 4 or 5 hours of work. 12 o'clock, I might eat. No, actually, I don't even eat at 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock, I go for a walk, rest my eyes, because usually my eyes are burning around that time. Go for a walk, re-energize, come back around 1, work and eat at the same time till about 5 or 6. Take another 15-minute break, work till about 8. Spend some time with people that I care about and go to sleep. Or sometimes I'm up to.
Sound your audio's going out.
The other companies, I'll probably be on, Zoom calls or conference calls till about 10:30. I might take a nap for 20 minutes and then work on like whatever creative stuff that I have to do as well. Look at the market, see what's going on overnight, see what I need to wake up and invest in as far as what stocks I'm going to trade the next morning. And then, maybe 12, 1 o'clock, start all over again, be back up at 5. I try to get to sleep by 10:30, but that doesn't usually work.
Wow. So Ted, I mean, the trend continues. It's not like, hey, I wake up at noon and eat a bag of potato chips.
No, but Walter sounds really like about 3 people though, right? Like it was like 3 different things going on. He said 3 laptops. It's really like 3 different Walters is working at the same time, because he said something about he go to bed. He tried to get in bed by 10, but then he really finished around 1. But he get up at 5. It was a lot going on. Yeah, this is the first time we asked this question to just about every guest, and this is the first time I think somebody has almost taken us almost through 24 hours of a day. Yeah, that's my day. If one of my fighters gives me a call, that hour for lunch or that hour break that I take around 5 o'clock, instead of taking that break for myself, I'll use that hour to 2 hours to train a fighter. It's just, I make time for the things that I feel are important. And usually if I'm making time for somebody, I'm neglecting something. So it's very important for me to let people know that, if I'm spending time with you, I'm neglecting something else. I've had to learn to say no a lot more, and that's probably, you said, what would I tell my younger self? Say no. Say no a lot more. Yeah. Definitely say no.
So you mentioned the training of fighters, which is something else.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. When you peel the onion back, it's about 10 walks doing stuff. Wait, you listen.
So let's get into that. What type of fighting are you training them in? How'd you get into that?
Right around when my wife passed away, I gained weight. I gained about 30 pounds. And once I got back into a mental space, I was like, okay, I got to get back in shape. And I tried to start playing basketball again. I couldn't dunk with that 30 pounds on me. I couldn't get up. I was barely touching the net. And I didn't like going to the gym. I just felt like that was narcissistic. I'm like around a whole bunch of other dudes. They're in the mirror lifting weights. Didn't do it for me. I'm a competitive person. I need some type of sport or competition. And I saw a sign that said boxing down the street. I go into the gym and it's a pro gym. Like Shambe Mitchell's in there, Chop Corley's in there, Darnell Dingaling Man Wilson is in there. There's just William Joppy, like all these pros that I'm seeing on HBO is in this gym. I was like, oh, I've always wanted to be a boxer. Within 3 months, I probably lost 30 pounds. By the end of the year, I was like, I want to get in there in the ring with him and see what I can do. And so I started, the next 4 years, I probably spent, 3 to 4 hours a day in the gym, just became a gym rat. I just wanted to be the best at it. I ended up being a sparring partner for several of them. So I was actually in the ring sparring with world champions. And they thought I was a pro. And I was like, nah, I don't even have an amateur fight yet. So when I did have an amateur fight, knocked the guy out, TKO pretty quickly. So my first couple of amateur fights was TKO. I was going to go pro. I ended up getting cast for a movie, and I decided to do movies instead of boxing, but I couldn't let go of the sport, so I decided to coach. So at that point, since I could never let go of the sport because boxing is addictive, when I started gaining weight again a little bit later, around 35, I went into a gym and they were like, membership's $100 a month. I was like, $100? I'm not paying to be a member. I was like, I think it was Columbia Boxing in LA. LA Boxing in Columbia is what it was. And I was like, do you guys need boxing coaches? And they were like, can you fight? I was like, yeah, I could fight. And they looked at me like, this guy probably can't fight. I said, who's the best guy you got here? They pointed at some black dude in the corner, and he was like a 3-4 time Golden Gloves champion. So let's glove up. And by the end of 3 rounds, they were like, you are a new trainer. And so they paid me to go to the gym. Like I said, if you do something, I'm not gonna pay to go to your gym. You're gonna pay me to work out. So now I can work out for free. All I gotta do is 1 hour, teach 1 class a week, and I get the gym 7 days a week for free. Makes sense.
Hey, it goes back to what you said. If you do something well, you might as well get paid for it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, might as well get paid to work out instead of paying somebody to work out.
So I know for myself, I have a martial arts background, and we'd fight in tournaments. I found that helped with the butterflies thing, and that helped for me to, because it's the same before I would go on stage and before I get into a tournament, it's the same feeling. And I find it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
Before you go on stage, do you shadow box?
I've never done that, but no.
Yeah, I do a couple of, quick moves before I go on stage, bounce up and down, get myself hyped, get that energy level up.
Yeah.
But, whatever sport you play, or whatever you do athletically, it can be applied to aspects of life.
Yep.
If you're boxing, or whether you're snowboarding or whatever it may be, you can always apply certain things to life. Definitely has to do with controlling your fear and anxiety, because you got to get in that ring and perform.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what that other person is bringing to the table. You got to stay in your pocket, if that makes sense. Jab, there's strategies to it. How you read people's body language, everything applies. So with boxing, I definitely apply boxing. I'm mad I can't think of an analogy at this point. Right now, I can only think about snowboarding for some reason. And with snowboarding, when I'm going through trees, right? If you look at the tree, you're gonna hit it. I don't know if you ski, same thing. If you're going backcountry and you look at the tree, you're gonna hit it. Instead of looking at what you don't want to hit, you got to look at the path between the trees. You got to look about 3 turns ahead. And if you apply that to life, it's the same thing. If you keep focusing on the obstacles, you're going to keep running into obstacles. Don't focus on the obstacle, focus on the solution, focus on the path that you want to be on, and be tunnel vision in that path in order to get to where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many applications to business and in life
Right.
when you do boxing, martial
Yeah.
arts, and even
Boxing,
some of those
boxing
sports.
might be get knocked down 7, get up 8. You know that's how it goes in business, baby.
Yeah, oh man, you're right.
Like,
You're
yo,
right.
I'm gonna keep getting back up.
Right,
Yeah,
You know,
right,
that's the
absolutely.
truth. That's the truth.
the difference is, your bounce back. You
Mm,
know, um, when you get knocked down, whether it's in life or in boxing, the first time you get knocked down, you kind of lay there.
mm.
You're like, all right, man, I can't believe I got knocked down. Oh, and then you get back up. But eventually with time, you get knocked down, you bounce right back up. And it's the same thing with business because you've been there.
Yeah,
It's like I know what it is to get back up.
yeah,
I'm not gonna sit there and wallow in it.
yeah,
You can't, if you sit there and wallow in it, you're just wasting time and energy. Get up. Like as soon as you hit, all right, let me get back up. And so it's the same thing.
And it's
It applies.
even, keeping your head when you get hit hard. Sometimes
Mhm.
you get hit harder than you thought you would, and
Right.
you still have to keep your head and not lose your game plan. I think the same thing applies in business. So
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. Yeah. I just thought of a boxing analogy and so mad. So mad that it escaped me. But yeah, it's the same thing. You got to keep your head in it.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. So I mean, back to the arts. I mean, if you had to choose, somebody said, you can only do one of these things. You can sing, you can write songs, you can dance, you can act, or you can do your stand-up comedy. Which one would you pick? Like, which one do you consider to be your first love?
Comedy would probably be my first love.
Interesting.
But that has changed over the course. I mean, my passions have changed as I've gotten older. What you consider fun changes as you get older. Some certain things you've been there and done that. I remember, I think my first love was comedy. First time I saw Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, I was like, oh, I want to do that. First time I saw Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, I want to do that.
Do that.
When you're a kid, you remember when you're a kid, like every day your goal change, like, what do you want to be today? I want to be a doctor. The next day, what do you want to be? I want to be a fireman.
Right.
You lose that enthusiasm for life. People tell you that you can't so much and that you have to pick one so much that energy and that enthusiasm leaves you because you really you start believing everybody when they say you can't do things.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always been a matter of what level of expertise am I going to get myself to in this art form, or what level do I need to reach in this sport for me to be satisfied with it before I move on. For music, it was, I want to get signed, I want to hear something that I wrote on the radio. For acting was, I want to leave something behind. I want to make sure I did a movie that got distributed worldwide. So every time I hit those milestones, I said, okay, and I continue to do the things that I love. But then at that point, I'm like, okay, I hit my milestone. What's my next challenge?
Okay. So what if you could just have the magic wand and say, hey, you know what? This is going to work out exactly the way I want it. What does your ideal future look like?
I don't even know at this point. If you'd have asked me that 10 years ago, I'd have been like, action, adventure, comedy actor. I'd have been like Jamie Foxx, Will Smith type. Yeah. That would have been it. If you'd have asked me before that, it would have been, I wanted to be the go-to guy. Any major singer that wanted a hit song, I wanted to be that go-to guy. So it's changed throughout the years. Now, I hate to say, now my focus is just money. But it's about what legacy am I going to leave behind? I have godchildren and people that depend upon me in life. And it's just a matter of how much of effect am I going to have on their life? Can they say I wouldn't be successful unless Uncle Walt showed me about how to trade stocks. I wouldn't be successful if Walt didn't support me in my dream. So now it's just more about legacy and being able to live without having to work. I'm always going to work. I can't imagine retiring. And I say that because recently I was reading about Warren Buffett and how he still wakes up at like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and goes to work. This guy has billions. He never has, nobody in his family will ever have to work again. And he still wakes up and goes to work. So I was like, what does retirement look like? I was like, retirement is just basically, I don't have to work. I'm working because I love it. I'm working because I want to do it. Bam, and I just thought of that boxing analogy that I wanted to tell you. So the boxing analogy is, you're a fighter. You said you've done martial arts.
Yes.
You know that first time you get hit hard?
Eric doesn't know that. Eric doesn't get hit, Eric. Tell him you don't get hit, Eric.
No, I've gotten hit. I got to keep it real with you.
Everybody's got hit. Everybody's got hit. The first time you get hit really hard,
Yeah.
and, you're wobbly, you can't feel your feet, and there's a panic that almost goes through you. I shouldn't say almost. There's a panic that goes through you.
Right. Yeah.
Because you like, I don't want to be knocked out in front of nobody. I don't want nobody to have to wake me up.
Right.
But you survive the round or whatever, and you think to yourself, you have a choice at that point. You're gonna either fight to survive, or you want to fight to win, or you like, I'm gonna get this person back. I'm gonna make them feel what they made me feel *2, and that's life. If you're fighting to survive, you're never gonna win. If you're fighting just to get by, you're never gonna win. You gotta fight to win. When you get knocked down, when you get hit hard, you gotta dig deep, bite down on that mouthpiece, and be like, I'm coming back. Not only am I gonna come back, I'm gonna come back and make you pay. You can teach a fighter how to box, but you can't teach a boxer how to fight. Either you got that dog in you or you don't. Either you are a fight or flight type person. And when you get hit hard that first time, you find out what type of man you are. Everybody want to fight until they get hit in the mouth.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I mean, and I always, people ask me certain questions. I ask them, look, are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose?
Right. And if you're playing not to lose, you'll never win.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Everybody's not made out of that though, right? Like, I tell people sometimes, and they talk about, all the time people say they want to start their own business, and I'm like, so do you want your own business, or do you want to make a lot of money? You can make a lot of money working for someone. You want your own business. Do you want to deal with when you put everything you got into a proposal and you don't win? When you've taken that client out to about 50 meals and he done gained 20 pounds off of your meal and you don't get 1 cent. You
told me that, Ted. You was like,
yeah.
You want to start your own business, or you want to make a lot of money?
Yeah, because it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing, man.
Boy.
Every day somebody tells me they want to start a business.
No, you don't. That's like somebody telling you they want to pledge. You be like, no, you don't.
You don't. You're not really about this life. No, you're really not about it, man.
You don't want to pledge.
But the funny thing about this conversation, though, Eric, a couple times you've tried to kind of get Walter to kind of pick. And no matter how you went, he still was like, I want to do it all. Why I gotta pick? Why I gotta pick? I want to do it. I want to do it all. And I mean, that's just that. But that's been. I remember when Walter told me years ago he was going into boxing. I'm thinking, dude, you in your mid-30s, man. I mean, it's gonna really hurt. Like, it's gonna really hurt now when you get hit.
Yeah.
He was training for fights. I was just like,
hey, Ted, you remember me showing up to meetings with a black eye and a busted lip?
Man, this guy here, man, he's built a little differently.
I show up to business meetings, people are like, what happened? Did you get robbed?
Oh man, that is too funny, man.
I'm like, no, I'm boxing. Why? Why are you boxing? You make good money. Why would you do that to yourself? I was like, hey, I love to do it. I love to do it. It teaches you lessons about life. Teach you, like I said, you'll find out what type of man you are. Definitely will.
It's funny. It's funny. One time I knew this one young lady. I won't mention her name, but she used to be in like the IT industry. And one day I saw her at a conference, and she had a black eye and her mouth was busted up. I'm like, man, what happened to you? She said, I do martial arts. And I was like, really? I said, well, who did that? She said, my father. He's in martial arts. I said, your father whooped you like that? She said, yeah, that's what we have to do. I'm like, my goodness, your father whooped you like that.
Yeah.
That's serious.
It's no joke, bro. It's no joke.
Yeah, it's definitely not a game. I mean, you just have to be like cut from a different cloth to consistently get out there and
slightly crazy.
Yeah.
So every time I've looked at like martial arts, I always see like the little kids doing it. It looks real cool. Then I'm like, man, if I had started at like 4, yeah, because them little kicks and stuff. I mean, you probably, you snap back and
right.
We was doing karate and stuff anyway as a little kid.
Right.
The thought right now, somebody doing a roundhouse kick right now on upside my head right now. I just don't like the way that sounds. That's not fun to me.
I tell you, one of the biggest lessons I learned from the martial arts was you can never underestimate anybody.
No.
They're guys that are 140 pounds. You look at them, you're like, oh. They will take you apart and not work up a sweat.
Right.
And I mean, they're the nicest, most laid back, most unassuming people you'll ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get in the ring, when they get in those white lines, it's just something different.
Yeah, they will. That 140-pound dude will crawl up your back like a squirrel. He will scurry up your back like a squirrel and take you down. Next thing you know, you in some type of chicken wing hold or something. Don't mess around, bro. Don't underestimate anybody.
No.
I've been in the I don't look like a fighter. So most time people underestimate me. They're like, I'll go into a gym and they're like, I'm fighting him. And I'm older now too. So I still spar every once in a while. And I'll move extra slow, take my time putting on my gloves, get in that ring and tear that boy up, tear that young 24, 28-year-old boy up, boy, I tell you what. So, but they're in the gym. I remember growing, and when I first started boxing, there was a guy, he must have been like, even our coach, Coach Mooney, he was on the 76 Olympic team. He taught me how to box. You would never think, if you caught this old dude in the back alley, you think he was going to take him.
Right.
Man, that old dude was so fast, he'll catch you in between the blinks. You never see the punch coming. You just see his hand on the way back. Like, do not, you can't underestimate anybody at all.
Right.
So
you don't want to get whooped by the old dude. Because old dudes, man,
they talk to you while they whoop you. Boy, I told you, don't mess with me. I'm done back in 1972.
But I tell you what, I mean, it happens all the time though, because I mean, they may not have the physicality, but they just all that experience and that timing.
Yeah. Timing. Yep. Timing and experience.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, he's gonna hit me with this punch. You know he's gonna do it.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen, I know you see that one video that was going viral for a while. I had this young white guy in there and he was fighting this older white guy. The older white guy, he came in like a sweater.
I saw that.
Yeah, he came in like a sweater.
And some orthopedic shoes.
man, let me tell you, by the time he finished with that young dude, man, I mean, it was not pretty at all. A whooping he absorbed that day.
I think the guy was like in his 70s, I think.
Yeah. A sweater. Didn't work up a sweat. And then just did like this. I'm out.
Yep.
I'm out.
Yeah, but I mean, just a lot of life lessons to martial arts, boxing, all these sports. They apply to life, they apply to business. So Walter, how can people best connect with you?
My Instagram is What Walt Can Do. My name is Walter. What Walt Can Do. My website's What Walt Can Do. Most of my social media is What Walt Can Do. That's probably the best way to reach me. Facebook, Walter Maxfield Jones. I'm easy to find. What else? ITSA is my IT recruiting firm. and that's itsahDQ.com. Other than that, I'm pretty easy to find, man. I'm Googleable. If people still Google people, I'm Googleable. YouTube, my YouTube is What Walt Can Do. Like mostly, I try to make it simple for people and just do what Walt can do across the board.
What Walt can do.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay. So now we're going to go around the horn. This is where we leave that final thought for the people. So Walter, we'll start with you with that final thought you want to leave the people with.
Okay. Well, my final thought, because we're in this day and age, I don't believe that we're protesting. This is not a protest. This is a rebellion. And now that we have the attention, let's not lose the momentum until we get everything that we want. America only understands money and violence. So as African Americans, male, female, children, arm yourselves, exercise your Second Amendment right. When we protest singing and holding hands. When they protest, they walk out. For a healthcare protest, they got guns at their healthcare protest. So it doesn't make sense for us to be out and be vulnerable and not protect ourselves as well. You can go get yourself a rifle, stop worrying about handguns. You can carry a rifle in public. You can't carry a handgun in public. Second, money. Support Black businesses. Put your money in Black-owned banks. I'm not really concerned with voting. I say just buy whoever's in office. Doesn't matter if it's Republican or Democrat. That's how they do it. They write a check. Doesn't matter who gets elected. And we make Republicans and Democrats compete for our dollars. We need to start some type of organization where we pool our money, decide on who we're going to vote for. The check is the deciding factor. The vote is the icing on the cake. And because that's, like I said, all they understand is money. If you watch any political movie, somebody's writing a check behind closed doors to get what they want. Violence, money, that's where we're going to get our most effective difference in what we're doing right now. It's not a protest, it's a rebellion. Understand how to fight. You fight by arming yourself, and you fight with your dollars. Support Black businesses, put your money in Black banks, buy your elections. Find 100 Black men. If you want to buy a local election, $100,000 can buy a local election. Find 100 Black men, put up $1,000, pick your agenda, and you tell the politicians, we're going to donate to your campaign, whoever's going to be the most effective at achieving the results that we want. And there it is. That's my final thought.
All right. Well, Ted, once again, tough act to follow.
Yeah. Very tough act to follow. It's the biggest thing out of this conversation for me is not focusing on your obstacles, focus on the solutions, right? We talked about that at length, and I just think that, too many times I think people think about, what they've gone through, what they're up against, and just instead of thinking about what is it going to take to get to the other side, right? And I just think that that's something, whether it's in business and your professional careers, just in whatever it is. I mean, you can just talk about stuff, but at the end of the day, you just got to make it happen. So you can't wait for it to happen. You got to make it happen. So I just think that that's something that that anyone can use, and just in listening to just Walt, not just today, because I've known him for years, and just at first it was kind of like, okay, man, you acting, you boxing. So right now it's like, if he's like, yeah, man, I'm about to be an astronaut, I'd be like, okay, so I'm not gonna be surprised, because he just does whatever he wants. He lives life to the fullest. He accomplishes things, and I'm just proud to have him as my frat brother. He's a different kind of cat.
Thank you, Ted.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I heard this quote that really applies, where it says that it's usually something good that's keeping you from something great. Right. And
I like that.
I say that to say that I think you have to always be pushing your boundaries, pushing the envelope, and not just settling for the comfort zone. You have to take risks. You have to put yourself out there. You can't just play. Most people are playing not to lose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we talked about this before, Ted. I think if you hire a coach and after every conversation you feel comfortable, you have the wrong coach.
Right.
You know, if you're like,
that push you.
You know, you have the wrong coach. But if you feel challenged, if you're like, if you're cursing him under your breath, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
He's challenged, he or she. And so I just think it's so important that you're always pushing yourself and pushing your limits and, you know, doing things that are out of your typical routine. And I think Walter, I mean, he's the classic example. When you look at all the things he's doing and he just wakes up, decides he's going to do it and makes it happen.
Yeah. Because I'm sure in just about everything that you do, there was someone that told you that you couldn't do that thing.
Always. Always.
But
my high school guidance counselor told me to go to community college.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, I got the highest SAT score in the school, and you're gonna tell me to go to community college?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's how it works, man. You know, you can't listen to the noise. Listen to yourself. Find, you know, listen to that voice, that God within you. Listen to that. And because there's always going to be naysayers. Let that be the fuel to push you. You know, let the people telling you that you can't do something, make that the reason why you do it. If that's what's motivating you, you know what I mean? But find you talked about The Last Dance, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, anything, hey, good game. Man, I took that personal. Anything that somebody said to him,
right,
he took it personal. That was the motive, you know what I mean? Like,
that's it.
So, but he understood what worked for him to drive him. So find whatever it is that works for you. You know,
life
is 10% what happens and 90% how you respond.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, this has been a fantastic episode of the 30-Minute Hour podcast.
I told 19 plus 11 equals 30. Bam.
I told you, Eric. I told you it's gonna be a good show.
That's how y'all think 30-minute podcast. Bam. Boom.
There you go.
Covers both Kappa and Q right there. Bam.
That's right.
There you
go. Even the captains and the Q can agree.
Right. Exactly. Numbers don't lie. 19 plus 30. Boom.
That's right.
30-minute podcast.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
That's right. So again, this has been a great episode of the 30-Minute Hour podcast. You can check out our website. Thank you for joining us. Absolutely. Thank you for what you share. I know you helped quite a few people that are watching us. Go to our website, the30minutehour.net. You can check out our past episodes. You can check us out here on the 30-Minute Hour Facebook page. Don't forget, Wednesdays at 6 o'clock, we're coming back at you. The 30-Minute Hour live on lockdown is where we have comedians and it's humorous. We present the lighter side of social distancing. And Ted, you know, I think we have somebody we may want to talk to about, you know.
Yeah, let me come back and wild out on this. I'm trying to hold myself back on this one.
I don't know. Well, I may have to use some safe words and all that good stuff on that show. So
I think you'd be a great addition to the team.
Absolutely.
I think so.
All right.
Look, he can sing. He can dance. He can do some acting. I mean, shoot, that's 3-4 people that we don't have more in the team.
All right. Now, but this has been an amazing episode. We certainly want to thank our guests. And we'll be back again on Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Until next time, have a great one.